Alleviation, Minister Martinez, Minister of Human Development, Social Transformation, Poverty and Alleviation, CEO Juve Apuche, European Union Ambassador, Mr. Nicolaus A. Hansmann, Deputy Program Manager of Gender and Development, CARICOM Secretariat, Ms. Anne-Marie Williams, Liaison Officer of UNFPA, Ms. Tisa Grant, Ms. Esther Ayuso, the Chair of the National Women's Commission, Head of Government, Government Departments, other NGOs, CSOs, statutory bodies, and all welcome. Protocol has been established. My name is Renata Santos, and I welcome you all to the official ceremony of CARICOM Secretariat. Today, this is the opening ceremony for a 2-day workshop in collaboration with the European Union on their 10th EDF Crime and Security CARICOM project. I ask you all, can you please rise for the national anthem?
O land of the free by the Carib Sea, our manhood we pledge to thy liberty. No tyrants will linger, despots must flee this strand. Will they win off democracy? The blood of our sires which hollows the sun brought freedom from slavery, oppression's rod. By the might of truth and the grace of God, no longer shall we be hearers of wood. Arise, ye sons of the Baymen's clan, put on your armor, clear the land, drive back the tyrants, let despots flee. Land of the free by the Carib Sea.
Let's pray together. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this privilege that we have to be here. Just as we have sang those 2 verses of the national anthem, the first verse and almost the second line used the word manhood. The second verse talks about father. And so, even in the anthem, we are focusing on masculinity. We thank you that you are Heavenly Father, and we pray for fathers on this land of the free. We also realize that across our territory, that the issue of gender-based violence, the issue of really the status of men and young boys in the society is a subject that is much under the radar. And we pray that as we gather today, that you will enlighten us not only today but tomorrow, that as we share the issues and we share the problems, that you will inspire us to come up with some solutions as we go forward. Pray for all who will speak and all who will listen and participate. May it be a time of great blessing and learning and productivity. We ask these things in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. So at this time, I will call on Honorable Anthony Martinez, Minister of Human Development, Social Transformation, and Poverty Alleviation for the welcome address. Could we please give him a round of applause?
Time is catching up on you, Lord. You glasses. Good morning, one and all. Let me acknowledge my colleague, Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Education, Youth and Sport, and Faber, CEO of the Ministry of Human Development, Mr. Representative from the United Nations, Mr. Nicolaus Hansmann, who I got it right. You and other cooperation partners, our friend from CARICOM. I notice other people that I can very nice, like Carl Marie, Mr. Sylvester, Ms. Carol Bob, Ms. Grant, Ms. Cynthia, Cynthia Williams, Ms. Anna Williams, Director of Women's Department, other heads of departments and public officers, representatives of faith-based organizations and civil society, participants, the media, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. As the Minister with the portfolio responsibility for gender issues, it is my pleasure to welcome you this morning to this workshop entitled Rethinking Masculinity, Understanding Gender Equality as a means of ending violence in school. Belize is pleased to be one of the pilot countries in the Caribbean region hosting this very important endeavor. It is my understanding that the idea for this workshop evolved from a study on youth masculinities and violence that was carried out with 1,000 students, their parents, and teachers. This study was conducted in 5 CARICOM countries, including Belize. Now, I am sure at some point today, one of the speakers will articulate the findings of the study in technical terms. But in my view, when it comes down to the brass tacks, the study found that young males were feeling pressure to think and act like some serious macho men. And this included really negative thinking and actions towards women and girls. We know this macho man thinking and action, these negative manifestations of masculinity are what leads to violence. The beef amongst young men that becomes lethal, the physical violence against partners out of jealousy or perceived disrespect, and so on. In view of the findings of this study, I think we can all appreciate the need for this workshop and its objective. This workshop seeks to provide key stakeholders in the education sector, faith-based organizations, and civil society with effective strategies to engage adolescents and youth in embracing positive ideas of masculinity and gender equality in order to prevent violence in school and by extension in society. We recognize that issues of gender affect both boys and girls, but in different ways. More and more, we are coming to the realization that messages boys are getting from society about manhood alone their physical strength, aggression, and competitiveness as the only quality that should define them as men. This impacts not just their personal life, but also their relationship at work and within community. Although discussion of gender equality focuses on oppression of women, as it rightfully should, we must also recognize that we are all shortchanged by gender inequality. As men, we need to truly understand that when the women in our lives, the women in our society do well, when they are afforded an equal opportunity to realize their full potential without undue obstacle, that does not diminish us as men. It does not take away anything from us as men. To the contrary, it is shown over and over again in all sorts of studies that when women do well, everyone benefits. And in fact, we don't need the studies to tell us that if we know that from real life experience. The truth is that in small developing countries like ours, we can ill afford gender inequality. We have a small population, and if we are to achieve our national development goals, we need to be firing on all cylinders. As it relates to violence, we are all interconnected, and so all negative impacted by violence, whether it is within school, within the home or in the community. Our children deserve to go and thrive in a peaceful society, and so we need to confront the root causes of violence head-on. And certainly, distorted ideas of manhood are one of them. So, ladies and gentlemen, to my mind, this workshop is very important. It's a very important one. It's very much complements our ongoing effort in violence prevention and achieving gender CARICOM for this very important initiative. I recognize and that the European Union for its support in bringing its fruition. I also want to recognize our own National Women's Commission and the Ministry of Education as the local coordinators for this event. In closing, I want to encourage everyone participating in this workshop to capitalize on this opportunity, to take full advantage of the expertise present and fully engage with the material, so that at the end, you are better equipped with strategies and best practices that can be integrated into interventions used with our adolescents and youth, both males and females. I am hopeful that your effort following on from this workshop, will contribute significantly to bringing our behavior change among our young people that will in turn lead to the fostering of a culture of peace in our schools. Welcome, and I wish you every success in your life.
Thank you, Minister. At this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Nicolaus A. Hansmann, the representative from the European Union, to please come forward and give his remarks. And a round of applause, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, everything is established, but good morning, Deputy Prime Minister, Faber, Minister, CEO, representative from governments, international partners, and distinguished guests. I'm Nicolaus, the team leader from the European Union's Technical Office in Denmark, and I'm bringing you the greetings of my ambassador, Russia, based in Kingston, and was not able today to attend this workshop. The European Union is very proud to support this initiative through hence European Development Fund. The funding line is crime and security in CARICOM, and under this funding line, several activities are carried out. For example, these 5 regional workshops on this specific thematic. For a long time, gender studies were only made or written about women and girls. Gender equality was seen as a woman's concern, while to be a man was seen as neutral and normal. However, the connection between men, masculinity, and gender equality is especially visible when it comes to interpersonal violence issues. And I think if we read the press in Belize, it is very obvious. The most dominant and traditional forms of masculinity in our societies are still defined by physical strength, power, domination, and aggression. The vast majority of violent acts, physical, psychological, and sexual, are committed by men and young boys, tied to their traditional gender role in both the public and the private sphere. However, by now we know already that men are not only responsible for the majority of violent acts, they're also the victims of interpersonal violence. So finally, that is the thematic of this workshop, and men should therefore be encouraged to play an active role in preventing all forms of violence as well as in protecting victims. So I think this workshop, from the European Union's point of view, is a very good initiative on the regional level, brought down to the countries in these sort of workshops. And we also appreciate that the National Women's Commission is involved, and that this will apparently have effects in the school and in the schools, and to work with young boys to start preparing them for hopefully their new role in society and family. So finally, we support this workshop and these initiatives and their advocacy for better understanding and rethinking of masculinity and gender equality. Allow me to explain to you a little bit what the European Union is partnering with the government of Belize in this country. Probably some of you have seen over the last decade we were very active in rural development in the sugar and banana sectors, where an overall grant funding from the European Union was around 100 million euros. For the moment, we are starting 3 new programs with 27 million euros, one in the health sector, the other one in sustainable energy, and a small but important one for improving the public finance management. These funds are channeled through the public entities, jointly with the government entities. But the European Union attaches great value to civil society organizations and their efforts and contribution to the national development. We have actually 3 civil society organizations where we support different thematics on democracy and human rights. And very soon, and I see some faces here where we have been working over the last month, very soon the European Union will start, together with the government and the United Nations, a program called the Spotlight Initiative, which is also directed to end violence against women and girls, and very close to this same thematic of the workshop today. So I wish all of you very productive and successful working sessions, and we will be attentive to your deliberations and findings and recommendations, and take this up wherever it is possible. Thank you very much.
Very pleasant good morning.
Good morning.
And I'm grateful to the Mistress of Ceremonies, or Director of Ceremonies as it is called, and certainly Ms. Anne Marie for doing such a wonderful job of establishing the protocol. I think it would be redundant if I did that again. But let me say good morning, a special good morning to my colleague, of course, Minister Bruce Martinez, and our Chief Education Officer, Mr. Hansmann from the European Union. And I want to particularly welcome and say good morning to my friend Anne-Marie Williams, who is home for the second time. In fact, she was here for the September celebrations and was our Mistress of Ceremonies at the Independence Day official ceremonies on September 21st. And many people in Belize, and is a media personality, as many of you know, and she went missing from Belize, and many people question, where did you go? And I don't know if you have come back in an official capacity to work in Belize before, but this is the first time that I am in a setting with you in your official capacity, working out of the CARICOM Secretariat. First time. All right, see? So let's give her a hand. This is one of our... We're very proud of you all, and we're pleased to welcome you this morning. I also want to take the opportunity to thank the partners who have helped to make this workshop, this two-day workshop, a reality. The European Union. But my friends, as I look around this room today, and I see key people in the Belizean society, I think all that is left to say is that we must now take this mantle up and take it up very seriously to accomplish what is being put to us today and tomorrow. You've heard, of course, of the study. I won't repeat that. But as we studied and we looked at what is happening in Western cultures, let me just share with you some of what the reality is today. And I want to do this in context of what I've said, that you are key players. I see church leaders, I see people in the education sector, I see people in the NGO community, I see people in the public sector as well. And it is our responsibility. When we look at masculinity in at least our Western culture, the male is now equal to an equal partner, where originally he had the role of a home leader. We also see that the male is rapidly becoming marginalized as they are surpassed by females who are more progressive in educational pursuits. If you don't believe me, come to the graduation for the University of Belize in June. And you will see, and for Galen as well, right, Dr. Air?
Any graduation.
Even, indeed, secondary school graduations, you will see that the girls are not only outnumbering slightly, overwhelmingly outnumbering the males. Males are increasingly becoming supporters of the family, and because they are increasingly less qualified. I have seen this, of course I'm a representative for a constituency where this is very, very evident. The females are the ones who are getting the jobs and the males are staying at home to be support for their female counterparts. Males are increasingly forced by circumstances to assume domestic roles, roles that they were not customary to. This is because they are increasingly less qualified, they earn smaller incomes, and so must assist in the domestic work, such as washing of clothes, cooking, and caring for children. Young males are increasingly looking for good role models as well among men, and they can't find them because too many males have abandoned their homes, leaving females as home leaders and sole income earners. Young males are increasingly being incarcerated. We know this very, very much here in Belize. Much of this stems from the lack of or poor role models, and our young males not getting attention and guidance and encouragement. Our young males are also becoming attached to negative groups such as gangs, and they seek friendship in these communities for acceptance and support. It's nothing new that we're saying here, and you know this already. Increasingly, our young males are also becoming attached to negative groups, as I've said, and are also attached to serious crimes, murder, home invasions, robberies, and homicide. We see all of these things very evident in Belize, and I'm sure that if the studies are advising that this is the reality, much of that has come from Belize because it accurately describes the Belizean context. And as I mentioned, there are now studies that are unboxing the problem. But the question is, how is it that we're going to deal with this? I had a conversation yesterday with a young student from the University of Belize. And I only intended to speak to her briefly, but I ended up speaking to her much longer than I anticipated because she was sharp and on point. And she was asking me these questions in light of the fact, of course, that I am offering myself to be the party leader of the United Democratic Party in a few months' time. And she was saying, well, you want to be leader of the party and if you want to be prime minister, you tell me, how is it that you intend to deal with the issue of crime and violence in the community? It's a loaded question. My friends, my answer to her was, sure, we could do all the policing, we could equip the police with body cams, we could put surveillance cameras on every other street corner, we could increase the amount of vehicles and guns and everything else that we give to the police. But the answer in fighting crime and violence, which is probably the biggest problem that we have in the Belizean society, is by attacking the root cause. And one such root cause is our neglect or continued misunderstanding and negatively looking at masculinity. All the problems that we've described, and I went through many of them just now. Any of these problems that we have in crime and violence, which is mainly, I think, perpetuated by our young males, if we fix those problems, we would be effectively fixing the problem of crime and violence. If our young men are not afraid of taking on their responsibilities, if they get an equal opportunity at education, if they do well at education, if they are equal partners in terms of qualifications with their counterpart females in the home, they won't need to feel less of a man to go out and make a living. They won't need to go out there and to seek attention from the gangs and seek support and comfort from the gangs. They will be in their family structures comfortably. All of these problems that we know plague us would have been solved. And it's not utopia. The answer to it, the answer to how we solve it, my friends, I write it in this room as I look at the players here. And it is a very, very serious thing. I was happy to hear Mr. Hansmann mention the issue of how we look at males in terms of violence against human beings in general. We talk about domestic violence being violence against women mostly, and we've been very preoccupied with that, and I am happy to understand that we're looking at it in other ways as well. Because there's a tremendous pressure on the male as well to do things, and there's a lot of verbal and physical violence against males as well, which is a part of the problem. So we must look at everything holistically, and we must not be blinded by those ways of thinking which we have traditionally used to mark our society by. But the answer, my friends, in my view, lies right here in this room. And so if for the next 2 days, all we're here for, and I'm not casting any shadows and prophesying that this will be the case, I'm merely mentioning it because I want to challenge you especially to let these 2 days not only be talking and picking up and just what is on the surface. Let us actually try to implement these things because, my friends, as I've said, it is really the answer to our problem or major problems in this society. And if you all agree with me that crime and violence is one such problem, it's probably the biggest problem that we have, then we need to address it. So when the workshop is over, when our friends from the CARICOM Secretariat, when our experts who have come to talk to us leave, let us pick up that mantle and run with it. Let us go on to train our teachers, and we're very, very happy that the Ministry of Education can partner in this exercise because the teacher has a lot of influence on what goes on in our society. This is why I make such a big deal about ensuring that our teachers are up to the standard. Because there's a lot that we have to do. And I say we because I am a teacher, although the teachers throw me down for that sometimes to say that. Training our teachers, they're already very burdened in a lot of ways, but this is a key area where all that we're saying, all that we will say for these 2 days can be continued in the classroom. But the teachers are not the only ones. Many of us in this room are also parents. And we must walk the walk, not only talk. We must make sure that we are doing this in our own homes. We are ensuring, especially those of you who have boy children, you're making sure that you do what you need to do to teach them the proper way. I'm happy to be among those numbers. I have 2 sons. And I'm trying to raise them the right way to be good boys, you know. But there may be things that I'm missing, and so as I look through the agenda, you know, I'm very, very sorry that I'm not able to stay. My time won't permit me. But I really would, like I see with your cameras rolling, of course, and I'm hoping that we're streaming it, and I'm hoping that there will at least be a recording so that we can go over it. And we can share it not only here in Belize. I know that the workshops are happening in all of the countries where the study has been, where countries that have participated in the study. But I'm hoping we can share it with the wider CARICOM family. So, in closing, my friends, I want to challenge you to do that, just that. Do your part in making sure that today a seed is sown, and that we go back to our respective workplaces, wherever that is. The churches too. Say a thing about the churches on the pulpits and in the churches on Sunday. This ought to be the topic. You know, I've always admired pastors and preachers who are not afraid to talk about the issues. You know, we work to serve people and we work to better the lives of individuals, and so churches have a key role to play. So let us all put our shoulders to the wheel and let us be united. There might be a difference of views, but we can all agree on certain things, and let us work on those things that we agree to be true and we agree can help our society. I wish you a wonderful 2 days and God's blessings.